Hello friends, my name is Philippe. I'm a huge fan of Barbra Streisand and I am making a series of videos on the 12 best Barbra Streisand albums to me, because that is always a question of choice and of taste. But to me, the 12 essential Barbra Streisand albums, the ones that you have to listen to and that you have to know about. Now, Barbra Streisand made over 60 albums, and many people have said to me, what's her best album? I want to listen to her. I want to hear one album. It's impossible to make you listen to one album and make you understand what she's all about, because she's so much and she's so many different things. And throughout her career, she's evolved and changed without ever being a traitor to what she really is. The Broadway star, the Hollywood star, the actress who sings, as she described herself. So today I am referring to an album which she called herself, I would never dare, a mistake. Could you imagine? Barbra Streisand and other musical instruments, Barbra Streisand being the main musical instrument, and she called this a mistake. Now, this was an amazing album to start with, or else I wouldn't talk about it. One thing is, it was commercially, it was a flop. Now listen to this. In 1973, when this album came out, it sold 250,000 copies in the first 2 weeks. That's what they called a flop at the time. Today, it would be called a quadruple diamond album. But at the time, Barbra Streisand's albums always hit the million mark and above. And this was the first one not to be in the top 10 or 12. Simply Streisand was in the top 12. All the others were in the top 10. And this one was 80 and it peaked at 66, something like that. So it was not a hit album and it was not certified gold. It was the only one at the time not certified. And she's only had 4 since then, or 5. But so this was the first one where, you know, Barbra Streisand did not hit with the public. Now, her fans, it's a different story. Now, at first, this is not an album. It is a television special. Barbra Streisand did 5 television specials. This was the last one she would do. And the idea was for her to sing with orchestras from all around the world. Japanese, American Indian, African, Irish, Spanish, Armenian, Turkish, and everything a bit Oriental, Arabic, and did I say Japanese? I did say Japanese, and especially appliances, washing machines, dishwashers, mixers, and and electronics. That was the big thing that was supposed to make that Barbra Streisand be a little bit more modern. Remember, this is 1973, and she's trying to become more and more mainstream and more of a modern star. And this is, you know, rock. So while people are listening to Pink Floyd and to psychedelic music, Barbra Streisand thinks of everything and she's right there, but she does it her way. So that was the concept of the show. The show was not a hit. When I was a little boy, it was supposed to be aired 2 nights. I watched the first night, and then the second night it was canceled because of the ratings. Now, Barbra Streisand begins the album with her piano practice, where she's doing her vocals, you know, la 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 la, but much better than me. But we know she hates to do that, and but it's really interesting to hear. And this is, again, the idea of this album. It's a work in progress. It's her introspection into music. She says in the album, the world is made of music, and it's a symphonic and a musical world, and that's what she brings. This is a world music album before its time, so that's pretty amazing just for that. Then she plays with a very cute piece with an 8-year-old prodigy, a piano player, and she sings I Got Rhythm, I Got Music, and that song goes throughout the album. It's going to be heard throughout the album in little pieces, because that's the whole thing, the rhythm and the music. And so then she goes in to sing some really incredible songs with the different orchestras. Now, one of them, which I absolutely love, is the Japanese orchestra, where she sings Glad to Be Unhappy. And it's a jazz song. It was sung by Billie Holiday, and she sings it with this Japanese orchestra. And she explains in the liner notes that Japanese music does not have a melody, so it's kind of blunt and kind of broken, and to our ears it just sounds very different, and she just makes it a miracle. And this is where this album, which was called by her critics a misstep, this is where she really gets it, because the orchestra and her voice are just equal. She's not overwhelmed by too many musicians, too much orchestration. So it's really beautiful. The main part of this album is a medley of some of her greatest hits. Secondhand Rose, which is sung, of course, because it's the Rose, with the Spanish orchestra. I Got Rhythm, again with the African orchestra. She sings Don't Rain on My Parade with an Indian American percussions and the drums. So of course none of this is subtle, the Indian music, because it makes it rain, so Don't Rain on My Parade. And this is where it's kind of a little bit, it's also what we would call today cultural appropriation, but it absolutely isn't, because she just takes in all this music, she puts on the costumes, and she does it as Barbra Streisand would do, with very delicately, and she just is very respectful of this music and of this of all these cultures. She sings People with the Armenian and Turkish orchestra. I'm not quite sure which one, but it's Oriental, and I think it's the one that's the most on the spot, because the Turkish, all the Oriental music, it's where I come from. It's the music I grew up. I come from Morocco, so all of this North African, Middle Eastern music is with orchestras which are very close to a symphonic orchestra. There's lots of violins and lots of chords, so it sounds like what Barbra Streisand would usually work with, except it's just a little bit different, and it's very beautiful. And there again, there's a real balance. There's a pigeon that just went on my balcony. I'm sure it's a sign. It's a bird. Anyway, she ends with a song where she sings a Make Your Own kind of music, and which she already sung on her live album at the Forum. And this one is with the appliances. So, dishwashers and machines and vacuum cleaners. So it's very gimmicky, and you don't really hear the sound of all the appliances so well, and she has to stop for the appliances to start. So it's not the greatest thing, but it is very interesting to hear, Barbra's incredible voice working with these very loud, obnoxious appliances. And she does end with, there are two incredible songs on this album which I want to stop on, which are first of all, I Never Have Seen Snow, which is Harold Arlen's beautiful song, and it's just incredible. Now this, again, it's a country girl singing about her love, and saying that she's never seen snow before, and she's discovered love in the same way. And Barbra Streisand becomes this incredible actress that she is, where she just becomes that girl who's illiterate, literally illiterate, because she doesn't speak well, and it's in the words. So it's really a beautiful song. Liza sings it in her Carnegie Hall concert, and you have to listen to that too. And she ends the album with a beautiful song, The Sweetest Sounds. Liza sings it as well in a completely different version on the same Carnegie Hall album. And she sings with a choir, and it's a choir of angels. But Again, the Angels are a little bit loud. They're a little bit too overpowering. But nevertheless, it's a beautiful, beautiful way of ending this album. It's just absolutely magnificent. And in any case, it is an album that you must listen to because it's an album like no other. Barbra's never done anything like this. She'll never do anything like this again. And certainly no one has ever done. So I hope to see you soon. I hope you give this album a listen. And I'll be back really soon with another Barbra Streisand album.